Maxton Hall. Season 3 is officially happening, and honestly, after everything we lived through in that devastating Season 2 finale, it's pretty clear this show isn't planning to give us an easy ride anytime soon. In fact, if we'd get a happy ending, my jaw will be on the floor. That's how dark things have got. So let's walk through what went down so far and what will happen next. Spoilers: Mortimer is worse than Voldemort, and he ruins everything. Now, Season 2's season finale began with Mr. Lexington holding that mysterious text with his shaky hands. Someone had sent him what looked like an inappropriate picture of a student with Graham. The big question hanging over everything was whether this was the same footage Cyril and Elaine secretly took of Lydia and Graham. Even Mr. Lexington could see the potential danger of the situation. He knew one wrong step could destroy lives, so he moved very carefully. Kudos to him, I guess. Then the episode threw us straight into the championship lacrosse game between Eastview and Maxton Hall. James was supposed to show up at a huge investor meeting for the Beaufort Company, something Mortimer absolutely expected him to prioritize. But James had had enough. He was too angry, too disappointed, too done with his father. And at that moment, Cyril needed him more. While all of this was happening, Ruby, Lydia, and Lynn overheard students whispering about Mr. Lexington receiving a photo of Graham with a student. Lydia froze and, of course, ran off. Meanwhile, the investor meeting at Beaufort was collapsing. One of the company's most important investors suddenly backed out, saying he no longer trusted the company's leadership or direction. And of all people, it was Harold, aka Elaine's father. Then he twisted the knife even deeper by telling Mortimer that he was furious about how James had humiliated his daughter by leaving her for Ruby. With that, he walked out, leaving the entire future of Beaufort hanging by a thread. Mortimer completely snapped. In his mind, ever since Ruby entered James's life, everything had gone wrong. And we all know that when a man like Mortimer wants revenge, he doesn't think twice. He told his assistant to get him a phone number, and we all knew whatever was coming next wasn't going to be good. And then came one of the most heartbreaking moments of the episode. Ruby returned home and immediately heard sobbing. She walked into the kitchen and found her parents and sister sitting at the table with devastated faces. Her mother explained she had been fired from the bakery. Her father then added that the owner had sold the business to someone who made an offer he couldn't refuse. What hurt the most was that the bakery originally belonged to Ruby's mom. She had been saving, dreaming, planning to buy it back someday. All of that hope vanished in a single moment. Ruby, already sensing the truth, asked who bought it. When her parents said the name, she immediately called James. And from the look on his face, we knew without needing to hear it. Mortimer bought the bakery. Can someone get rid of Mortimer, please? Like, seriously, I cannot stand him. James rushed to the reading of Cordelia's will, where Lydia, Ophelia, and Mortimer were already waiting. The executor began reading, and according to this version of the will, Cordelia had left everything, all her assets, her properties, her shares in Beaufort, to Mortimer alone. Lydia, James, and Ophelia protested immediately. They all knew Cordelia would never cut her children out of her life's work. Earlier in the episode, Lydia had told Graham she was almost certain her mother intended for her and James to inherit the company. Nothing about this reading felt right. The siblings made it clear they planned to challenge it. Determined to protect Ruby, James then went to the Alice Campbell Foundation to confront Mrs. Campbell. He told her he knew Mortimer was behind the decision to revoke Ruby's scholarship and begged her to reinstate it. But Mrs. Campbell told him she couldn't defy Mortimer, simply because her foundation relied on his support. I mean, can we even get mad at her? Because, what else could she do in such a situation? Seriously, guys, Mortimer is the absolute worst. James met Ruby later to explain everything. She asked him to stay the night at her place, wanting to keep him close, but he didn't want to distract her before her exams. So he told her he would stay with Cyril, and Lydia came along too. The next morning, Ruby showed up at school determined to sit for her scholarship exams. But before she could even start, she was called into Mr. Lexington's office, and everything that had been brewing finally exploded. The night before, Mr. Lexington and the Parents' Council had questioned Graham about the alleged affair. Mortimer sat in that room pretending to be calm, which instantly confused Graham. When Graham admitted he had been involved with a student, without naming Lydia, Mortimer showed zero concern. That's when Graham realized something was terribly wrong. They weren't talking about Lydia at all. They thought the student was someone else. He asked to see the photo. And then, suddenly, everything made sense, and my jaw fell onto the floor. Back in the present, Ruby walked into the office and found her mother sitting there. Mr. Lexington showed Ruby the picture, which was that innocent moment from the welcome party where Ruby and Graham had simply been talking, caught at the exact wrong angle. The image looked like they were about to kiss, and whoever sent it knew the exact kind of damage it would cause. Mr. Lexington believed the worst, and in the name of protecting the school, he immediately suspended both her and Graham. Ruby stepped outside, and the entire school watched as police escorted Graham away. Lydia stood there in tears, and James pulled Ruby close as she broke down. That was where season 2 ended. Heartbreaking and annoying, isn't it? Like, at this point, I don't even feel sad for Ruby. I only feel extremely mad on behalf on her. Because, feel free to fight me in the comments, but no guy worth this much trouble, even if that guy is James. Now, let's talk about what comes next, because good news, season 3 is already filmed, and we will get it around the same time next year, or even earlier. So, mark your calendars for a November 2026 release date. When it comes to the plot, season 3 will adapt the final book in the trilogy, Save Us. The book begins right where the show left off, with poor Ruby's world basically collapsing. She's suspended, the school believes she was involved in a scandal, and her Oxford dreams completely fall apart. The most painful part is that all signs seem to point toward James being responsible for the photo being sent. Yes, you heard it right. This is the biggest plot twist of the book. As you can expect, Ruby feels betrayed on every level. To his credit, James is destroyed too. Their trust breaks completely. James is also drowning in pressure from his family. On top of all these, Save Us expands the story beyond just Ruby and James, which makes this book unique. We get perspectives from Lydia, Graham, Alistair, Ember, and Ren. One of the biggest twists comes when James discovers the truth. Turns out he wasn't the one who sent the scandalous photo. The entire thing was manipulated by someone else with their own motives. When Ruby learns this, she fights for her future with everything she has left. She challenges her suspension, pushes to finish the school year, and refuses to let her dreams die. James, on the other hand, finally stands up to his father. He walks away from Beaufort, giving up his shares and the life Mortimer wanted to trap him in. For the first time, he chooses himself, and he chooses Ruby. By the end of Save Us, Ruby gets her chance at Oxford. James leaves to travel and rebuild himself on his own terms. And even though they're heading toward a long-distance relationship, they choose to stay together. I'm not sure if the show would follow the exact footsteps, but I know for sure that I'll be there to watch every single second of it. For more weekly updates on Maxton Hall, make sure to like and follow. Meanwhile, the video on the screen might also interest you.